Citizens in Hartford, Connecticut, of all places, have decided to do something a little different when it comes to dealing with crime. They've decided to take up arms and establish an armed neighborhood patrol. Again, in Connecticut. Keep watching for the details. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is brought to you today by Blackout Coffee Company and my second cup of iced coffee. It's a 2-cup kind of day. They are a Florida-based roaster that keeps you awake, not woke, and always supports your Second Amendment rights. They support veterans, soldiers overseas, some of your favorite gun rights groups, and channels like mine. By the way, new favorite, chocolate-covered cherry, it is chef's kiss. To support them, my channel, and your rights, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. Neighborhood watches certainly aren't anything new, though whether or not those watches are armed is typically not part of the news cycle and not something I would expect out of any place in liberal New England. So now, because it's in the city of Hartford, Connecticut, and the effort was started by a bishop, it is therefore controversial. Who would have guessed that? To top it all off, the bishop is a black man, and for all the left's claims that gun owners are so racist that we would suddenly support gun control if we knew black people were armed, they're making a really big deal about black people being armed. As if they're not allowed to want to protect themselves and care about their own self-defense and their own neighborhoods? Actually, that sounds like leftist policies in a nutshell. Anyways, 2 men were shot and killed on just one of the streets the watch plans to patrol just last month, and Bishop Dexter Burke of the Walk in the Light Church of God says that the community has had enough. Anti-gun groups in the area says that having armed citizens patrolling the neighborhood will only add to the trauma the community faces, but Bishop Burke says that prayers and vigils won't stop crime. Apparently, neither do the police or the city's policies. Now really, this shouldn't be all that controversial, except for the fact that clearly their taxes are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. But that is one of the foundations of the Second Amendment. Shouldn't be that big of a deal. But the gun control group Mothers United Against Violence has stood up and has claimed that not only having armed citizens defending their neighborhood will increase crime, but that it will also give the citizens PTSD. They claim that having violence in the area in the first place gives people PTSD, but then also trying to stop and defend against the violence will give people PTSD, so I guess they can't win and just everyone in Hartford is gonna have PTSD. The bishop has tried to explain that this isn't just a bunch of gang bangers running around the streets causing chaos, which is apparently the only vision of gun owners these people have, which should be telling you something about Hartford. Honestly, I grew up in Springfield, which is another spectacular place, and used to go to punk shows in downtown Hartford, and it is not exactly the safest place. I saw some things. So good on these people for wanting to do something about it.
They're licensed, and I've said this before, they're licensed by the state of Connecticut. It's not just some thugs just running around with guns. These are individuals who are competent and who've done this before. They are professionals, they're educated, they're law-abiding citizens, and they're saying we are willing to help the police.
Now, I want to take your attention to a little bit of that statement that says, they've done this before. Hold on to that nugget for just a minute. Now, the City Council is looking at a resolution to form official neighborhood watches, but requiring that they stay unarmed. That will go to public comment on April 18th. Now, for what it's worth, the gun control group has suggested that poverty is one of the root causes of crime, and they're not wrong. But it's not something you can fix with a government band-aid. If you could, they would have done it by now with the amount of money that they throw into social programs. 9 times out of 10, it's government policies that are the biggest things contributing to poverty because bureaucrats still believe in and abuse the broken window fallacy and use government handouts to buy votes. In the meantime, an armed society is a polite society, but the reverend heading Moms Against says that armed citizens equate to vigilantes in the Wild West and will create mayhem in the streets. As if they don't already have mayhem in the streets. So it also turns out that neighbors requested the patrols in the past. There's that little nugget there about having done this before, and legal gun owners have obliged on and off for years. And no one heard about it, and no one cared until now. Probably because the optics on it are not great. So on the one hand, you have the neighborhood allegedly coming to Burke and the Watch for help with the anti-gun group, and the mayor accusing them of creating mental health issues and crime. So we have people actually asking for help, and someone else somewhere trying to be the savior and saying, no, you can't do that because PTSD and Wild West. I mean, of course the mayor is against it because it's basically pointing out that he's doing a bad job. And they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results, and obviously the way things have been run in Hartford is not exactly working. I will not tell you how long ago it was that I was going to underground punk shows in Hartford, but trust me, the city's been like this for a long time. Either way, you know things are bad if folks in Connecticut have decided to take up arms to defend their neighborhood, and for their sake, I hope they're allowed to keep doing it. I'm actually getting flashbacks to all the barbed wired parking lots that we had to walk by to get to the venue. Oh man, those were interesting times. Luckily, nothing ever happened to us. I don't know, maybe my spiky jacket just was scaring people away. Some decisions were made. Either way, you know things are bad if folks in Connecticut have decided to take up arms to defend their neighborhood, and for their sake, I hope they're allowed to keep doing it. We'll see what happens with that public comment period in April. Anyways, that is it for this video, guys, and a little trip down memory lane. You know the drill for all of the algorithm things. Please ring that notification bell so that you get told of all of my new and upcoming videos, and drop a comment down below for the algorithm. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and happy shooting.